Now, I've bounced this tennis ball around for a while, and I said, well, I don't know if he's crazy. You know, they went through this whole re-image thing for the Olympics to fight to get Cousins on the Olympic team, to try to re-show, you know, like, he's not crazy. You know, he's a great player because talent-wise, he's one of the best players in the NBA, without a fraction of a doubt. You have to go very far to find anybody that would say Demarcus Cousins is not an exceptional basketball player. You would have to travel very far to find somebody to say that. And that's facts. Demarcus Cousins, since he's been in the league, has dominated. And I mean that. I mean, every year, like this year, he's doing even better than I've ever seen him play throughout his career. But he's averaging 29 points a game. You're looking at a guy who's basically giving you 12 to 13 rebounds a game this season alone, with 50 more games to go, of course. But he can't be stopped. He's playing he's like the last big man left. And he's basically 25 and 10 every year. But he's the only thing basically in Sacramento. They've been fighting to move the team out of Sacramento forever. The owners is like, look, we need to get out of here. And then the people that like, look, no, we want you to stay. We want to keep our team. You know, this is the only thing they have. Their team is a bunch of scrappers. And the only thing they really have is Cousins. They got Emeka Okafor on there. They got Bynum, I think, on the roster. It's like, where in the world is this team going to go? So the question is asked, is DeMarcus just crazy? You see, the thing is he's the same person he's been since he got into the league back in 2010, 2011. You know, people like, look, we got to try to improve your image. We got to do this. We got to do that. He's still the same old booby. You know, booby. And I mean not as a player, I mean attitude-wise. See, they didn't sign Booby. They signed DeMarcus Cousins. And that's what the Kings are like, look, man, we didn't sign your alter ego, the spoiled guy who always throw these tantrums. We didn't sign him. We signed Booby. Now, since he's been in the league, it's been technical fouls, ejections, technical fouls. And can nobody really enjoy his performances? He put up 54 points in a game, and they talking about him spitting out his mouthpiece on the floor. Like, why would you do that? If the bench was irking you on and edging you, that means now they know they can mentally take you out of a game or put you in a position where they could get you ejected. If this was the old days, you'd have been ejected in the first quarter. They sent guys off the bench with the goal of getting in your head. They'd have got you to swing, and both of y'all would have been thrown out. They got a guy who averages 2 points versus a guy who averages 30. He's out of the game. That was strategy back in the day, to see how stupid players used to be. They would go and get John Stark stirred up and get him thrown out of the game. But each year, as a player, his numbers haven't progressed. His rookie year, he was doing 17 points a game, but still a monster on the boards. He went up to 21 points a game. Then he went to like 25, 28. Now he's basically doing about 29, almost 30 points a game. Like, he's doing like crazy numbers. So if you looking at what he brings to the team, he definitely is a threat. But his problem is he don't really want to be with the Kings no more. He really want to go somewhere else. But they stuck with each other. He can't get a trade, so he's just acting out like a child. But in the olden days, players like this weren't in the league long. See, people thought Dennis Rodman was crazy. Dennis wasn't crazy. Dennis was crazy like a fox. He was selling himself. See, Cousins isn't doing that. Rodman was dyeing his hair. He was doing all this other stuff because he had a lot of stuff going on in his life. But Dennis was using that as a marketing tool to build himself. And the NBA was basically trying to shut Dennis Rodman down every year. But as you look at Dennis Rodman, he went where? Into the Hall of Fame. Because there was no one really like him in the game anymore. So now you're looking in a situation where with Cousins, I'll tell you a great story that'll sum this whole thing up. Terry Cummins. We all remember Terry Cummins played for the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, you young people won't, but you got Google. Look up Terry Cummins from Chicago, Illinois. Terry Cummins made it to the NBA, played for the Bucks. Great player. He had a brother, Lee Cummins, that was just the same size as him, probably a little bigger, had great touch, probably was a better shooter than Terry. Lee had all these moves, and he had NBA scouts, and he was pegged to go to the league. But in high school, Lee had a very bad problem. He had a temper. Lee's temper and attitude, arguing with refs, arguing with players, arguing with coaches, it kept Lee from going to the NBA. Lee thought, like, I'm so good, that's going to overpass anything. So Lee didn't even get drafted. He didn't go and finish anything in college because he was already arguing with him. He knew more than the coach. He knew more than anybody else. So in the end, you need these people to co-sign for you. You need that coach to say, hey, you the man. I need you. You know, he's a great example of our university. This guy is what we look forward to in our university. He's going to do great for your school, or you're going to need these guys to give you a recommendation. We never saw Lee Cummins in the NBA. Now, did he have the talent to be there? Absolutely. He was better than probably 30-40% of the league. But it's those relationship skills that kept him where he was. It's not like today's league, where they try to pacify it and say, well, we'll just put a Band-Aid on it and then hopefully it'll get better. No, it's not getting better. It's staying the same. So now you're in a situation where you got to deal with personalities. Some you might not even want to deal with. I don't know if y'all understand all this, but this is how the league is set up now. It's a babysitting league. You pacifying all these spoiled people. Well, back in the day, they wouldn't even got in the league. They kind of monitored and kicked people like that out early. So they didn't have too many babies running around. They didn't have time to deal with your behavior. I had a cousin, set all kind of high school records as a quarterback. But he chose to, in school, not on the field, in the classrooms be disrespectful to the teachers, be disrespectful to the hallmates, coaches, and they set school records that had never been done for a school that small. They got to the big stage. And now, since they were on the big stage, they got a lot of attention, a lot of newspapers, a lot of people interested in coming to play there because they had a winning program. It's time for people to go to college. Teachers wasn't writing letters of recommendation for him, and he was a star quarterback. He's one of the main reasons they was winning. Matter of fact, other players on that team went to D1, Division I schools, colleges and university, based on him being the quarterback. They made it, and he got all these people in the D1 schools. But nobody wanted to co-sign for him. None of the teachers wanted to recommend anything for him. His grade point average was about C level. And he's a smart kid. So what was the problem? People were putting athletics over academics. And when that happened, you started to see the real world come very fast and start slapping you right in the face with reality. Because once high school's over and you got to start going through life, there's nobody there to really prepare you for it. If they haven't prepared you for it already, they failed you. Because now it's like, okay, well, playtime's over. Now it's time to get out in the world and earn if you're not going to college. Now you out here in the world for something you're not prepared for because you never took it serious. They never told you it was serious. And now we got glorified babies running around in this league, going back towards the NBA. And then you bring it back to Cousins. Who's going to want to play with him? Do you think Cleveland, because they saying LeBron James would want to play with Cousins? Of course he's better than Tristan Thompson or whatever. But here's the thing. Who's going to be able to afford to bring him over? You think LeBron is going to get that owner to pay the money to bring Cousins over? Cousins over? So he could play with LeBron James? No. They're gonna stick with what they got. They already winning games without him. So there's a lot of teams he could possibly go to, but the Kings are going to want to be compensated. And believe you me, nobody wants to play for Sacramento. Sacramento is where you go. Right there, you become them or a Timberwolf right before you're out the door. So boy Carcino, I'm out. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Peace.